Hey guys, how you doing? Thanks very much for your questions on my. I think it was on to do with getting flurries. Actually, I've had quite a few questions about that in relation to a lesson that I did on Fly Me to the Moon and improvising over that, and just general jazz theory practice and practicing standards. Anyway. I was kind of blowing over that, taking a solo, and I did some flurries, which I built the solo up. Once I built the solo up, I started introducing them. And the technique I use is basically a sweep picking technique. That's basically the effect that it gets. It can be used for any arpeggio, but essentially it's an arpeggio. So let me just show you that very slowly. All I'm doing there is I'm using my thumb to gently pick through an arpeggio, and I'm not picking each note individually. I'm just sweeping through, letting the weight of my hand do the work actually. And then I'm hammering onto the seventh, and then tapping the octave. And then I'm reversing that and using the back of my thumb, actually the back of my nail on my thumb, to come back down. And then I'm pulling off down to the sixth here, which is an A, and then repeating. That's actually so that is basically it. Let me show you that up real close. And also I'm going to be putting tabs up on my website. So here it is, close up, and with the thumb in view. And you'll notice that I'm using my thumb just around the base, where the neck joins the body. The reason, actually, it doesn't really matter where you do it. Wherever you do it, the reason I'm doing it here is just so I'm close enough to tap. If I do it down here, I've got to make too much of a movement, and I lose my accuracy. So that is basically it. Again, so just using your thumb to gently sweep through an arpeggio. Here it's a C major arpeggio. Hammering on to the seventh, tapping the octave, and pulling that off to the seventh again, and then pulling that off down to the third. Then using the back of your nail to play, sorry, not the third, the fifth, and using the back of your nail to play the third and the root, and then pulling off to the sixth. And that's the effects you can. That's the effects you can get. I don't use it so much. I only use it for effect occasionally, because I'm simply not that good at doing it yet. I can't keep that going for very long, so I tend to just use it just as a way to add a flurry to a phrase. So I think if you really want to get this down really solidly and cleanly, the way to practice is to do it with a metronome, and perhaps to start with, do the metronome just to get it accurate. And once you got to a certain stage, the best thing to do is just sit in front of the television and just do it. Just do it with your attention elsewhere, so that it becomes, that really helps it to become more of a natural movement and more about muscle memory. That's what I do, because I'm terribly lazy with sitting down and actually drilling things properly. I'm terribly lazy with that, so I tend to just do things in front of the television. Things like that, technique exercises and stuff, can be insanely boring to just practice, unless you put them directly into practice over a solo or improvising or something. But I know what it's like when you're at the stage where you can't quite do it. You don't know how to apply it to a solo yet. It becomes frustrating, and it's something that you do have to sit down and practice. There are no shortcuts really, so that's my suggestion to deal with the monotony, basically, of practicing such a technique, if you can be bothered to. But of course, once you do get it down, the effect of it is really quite nice. I very much enjoy using this technique in my playing. Sometimes I use it too much, but we're all learning, so it's all good. It's all experimentation. There's nothing wrong or right with it. So that's it anyway. So the tabs for that are up on my website. You can get them by subscribing at my website, and there are also a manner of other things there as well, perks for people who subscribe, such as, if you subscribe, you will notice that I have a bass shop there as well. I always have new and used basses on sale, both in eBay and direct from my website. I deal with backers, who are my primary focus. I endorse backers, but I also collect made in Japan basses, such as this one. This one's a Blade B2 by the way, which is a mid-90s model, and made by Tune Guitars, under license for Gary Levinson. So I have all these kinds of things on my site. I've had Moons, Atelier Z's, ESPs, this one here, for example. I have X-Demo instruments too. I know a bunch of dealers in town, and sometimes I go and relieve them of their X-Demo instruments, and I demonstrate them and put them up my eBay store. So this one here is an X-Demo Edwards by ESP. That's a pretty darn good bass too. So that's all good, and if you are a subscriber, you automatically get 5% off. So it could well be worth it for you. You get 5% off any of the instruments in my shop, not through eBay, but directly through my website. So that's the deal there. You may also get some free music downloads. I've got some backing tracks as well up in the member area. and I add to the member area. Basically, I try to do it once a week, but guaranteed twice a month anyway. You will get new tabs, backing tracks, and will be up there at least twice a month. So there you go. That's it. If you have any questions, want to know anything more about this technique, or just about the bass, or anything to do with bass, just give me a holler. Alright, thanks a lot for watching, and see you again for another one.